to the Muslim View. It's a pleasure having you with us once again. And today we're here at the Oxford Mosque because we're celebrating the Muslim History Month. It's a celebration that was proclaimed by the government, I think,
2007 federally, and in Ontario very recently.
Let's talk about what is the Muslim History Month.
Actually, it's federally it's called Islamic History Month, and it was proclaimed in Parliament in 2007. And then in Ontario, it was very recently proclaimed as Islamic Heritage Month. So it's a month similar to Black History Month, where we educate others, we connect with others, we try to build bridges with others. And it's just a month where we focus on all the great history, all the great inventions, lots of great things that sometimes, we're not aware of.
Yeah, as Siba is saying, we're talking behind cameras because there's too many things that we should be educated, let's say, about different cultures. In this case, the Muslim community, why they were in hijab. And in the past programs, we've been talking about what is the meaning and how it's growing in a family with hijab, a Muslim family. But here today, we're celebrating the Islamic History Month. What is happening here at the mosque today?
So today we have a notable speaker who's coming in from Toronto. Her name is Dr. Katherine Bullock. She's a PhD, she's a researcher, she's a professor at the University of Toronto, and she did an amazing study which was released over the summer in all the major media outlets, and it was on how Canadian Muslims feel about themselves. And the results were quite interesting. And so she'll be
shocking.
Well, yeah, you can say shocking, but it's different from how Muslims are generally stereotyped. Muslims are very much part of the fabric of Canada. They feel very Canadian. Yeah. And Dr. Katherine Bullock will be showing us in her presentation today regarding the results of her study. So I'm looking forward to that. As well, we're going to be showing a documentary on Muslim seniors and how they're giving back to Canada. Yeah. And one of those featured in the documentary is our very own Londoner, Hani Hassan. Yeah. So we're very proud of him, and we're excited also to be viewing that documentary tonight that's produced by the Research Institute where Dr. Katherine works.
Yeah, for top events, as we are part of the production of the Muslim View, we've been living with the Islamic or the Muslim community for this year is going to be 9 years on air with the Muslim View, and we've been experiencing all these good deeds, good community, but beautiful community who is always trying to change the way everybody looks at them and the way to how they can give more to the community. So, Siba, thank you very much. So we'll be with you probably later.
Thank you, Jorge.
With us, we have Ali Joma. He is the president of the Oxford Mosque in London. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, thank you very much. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. Okay, Ali, we are celebrating today, or this month, the Islamic History Month. And today there's a big celebration here at the Oxford Mosque. How you see that the position of the Muslim community right now in London?
Well, I think the Muslim community has a large history here in London, Ontario, and I think events like this will show people that the Muslims have been quite active in London since the late 1800s. Yeah. And I think that bringing together history and bringing together people and enjoying ourselves as a community and establishing relationships with other people who are also contributing to London, Ontario is very important. And history, as defined, will help us join our efforts.
Yeah, how hard it's been for the community to be accepted, or not? We cannot say accepted, but just to change that view from that the media has been creating.
Well, I think that the Muslims have been engaged in a lot of different levels within the City of London, participating within the municipal government, but services on different levels, with different service companies, different service agencies, and we're well established here in London, Ontario, and I think a lot of people are seeing that we're reaching out the same way that everybody else is reaching out. They see us engaged the same way everybody else is engaged, which is very important.
Yeah, the community at large is being a part of the actual the London for many years, as you mentioned before, and it's a complete different world when you live with the Muslim community, where you share with them, with you guys, and it's a very nice community. So, okay, Ali, and a message for the community.
Well, I think that our efforts have not ceased. We are just starting. We're working hard on different levels, developing plans of expansion. Our Muslims in this community have grown, and we need to bring the efforts of all Muslims in London to work with the greater London community to make London a better city, inshallah.
Okay, absolutely. We're going to be with you, close to you, to help promoting that. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to go for a small break, and when we come back, we continue the Muslim View. We continue the Muslim View, and with us we have Katherine Bullock. She is the writer, and also she created a big research regarding the Muslims in Canada. Katherine, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Katherine was telling us a very interesting story. Where you come from?
So I'm originally from Australia, but I've been in Canada for more than 20 years, and I converted to Islam in 1994.
What brought you to convert on Islam?
I came to study my master's degree, and I was an atheist at the time, and I met Muslims, and I actually met people who were also very strong Christians, and it made me wonder, like, why was I an atheist? So then I ended up getting engaged to a Muslim, and he gave me a copy of the Quran to study, and as I studied it, I felt that I really liked its message of the oneness of God. It really appealed to me.
So it was that it appeals to you at the point, till the point that you start doing a research about what's going on with the Islam in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Well, I studied many different religions. It took me about 3 years to make up my mind. Then in the second year of my PhD, I converted. So then I went on to study Muslim women, because I started to wear the headscarf, and I got a lot of negative reactions. Yeah. And then after I graduated, and then I got involved with this research institute, and we partnered with Environics. They're actually the lead research team on this project, yeah, to do a study of Canadian Muslim opinion nationwide. It's the only institute in Canada doing this kind of research. They did the first one in 2006. With basically by themselves, yeah, and they wanted to do a follow-up 10 years later, and this time they partnered with many Muslim organizations, and we were my organization was one of the lead organizations.
What's the name of your organization?
So the organization is called the Tessellate Institute.
Okay.
It's a charitable research institute, and we study Muslims in Canada.
Okay, so we're going to try to show a little bit of the results of the research, but what was the most important thing you found in that research?
Really, the most important thing was that Muslims are really feeling attached to Canada. They feel very proud of being Canadian, more proud actually than many non-Muslims. The thing they dislike the most is the weather. The things that they like the most are very similar to the thing that non-Muslim Canadians say they like about Canada. For example, multiculturalism, freedom, democracy. And this is, to me, I mean, I already knew this because I hang around the Muslims. Yeah. But in terms of the media story about Muslims, it's kind of very surprising because the media gives the impression that Muslims hate, Western liberal democracy, hate the freedoms, don't want to integrate. And this, we didn't find this at all.
There wasn't the case.
I mean, there's like small minorities who say they want to remain distinct, but the overwhelming majorities, they want to integrate, they want to become part of Canada, they feel proud of being Canadian, they feel a strong sense of belonging. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from the research.
What happened, because we know the level of discrimination, or let's put those words, discrimination against women wearing a hijab, or how was that research?
That was the I don't know if you want to call it a black spot, but there were things that we learned that were of concern in this research, and one of them was the number of women who reported feeling discriminated against. Basically, 1 in 3 of the interviewees said they'd experienced it. It's a lot. It's almost, I don't know, it's like maybe twice as high as the national average. And a lot of the youth who are born and grow up here say they have a very high reporting of feeling that they've been discriminated against. And the reason that that's concerning is because those were some of the groups that where their reported feeling belonging to Canada was actually less than the average. So the women are experiencing discrimination and a lot of the youth. And this makes them feel less sure about belonging to Canada. So this is a concern. This is something that people should watch out for and try to address.
Yeah, in past programs, we've been talking about the hijab and what is growing in a family, in a Muslim family, as a woman, and how parents invite, let's put in those words, invite their daughters to wear the hijab, or in some cases force them. Is something like that part of the research? You find something there?
So we were asking more general questions. Do you wear it? Do you not wear it? We didn't get down into those depths about, why do you wear it and, were you forced or not. But in general, based on my research, my other research that I've done, almost all the young women say they wear it out of choice because they feel Canada's a multicultural country. They feel proud to express their identity as Muslims. We do come across every now and then the women who feel forced. But there are also a minority who wear it and their parents are trying to force them not to wear it.
Oh,
so there are
interesting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is actually quite common. Even amongst the girls who choose to wear a face veil. There's this idea out there that the husbands are forcing the wives to wear it, but in general, it's often more the case that the husband doesn't want them to wear it, and they wear it anyway.
Okay.
And the husband he's embarrassed. He goes out and he knows everyone's staring at them, and he doesn't like that. So
probably avoiding that discrimination.
He wants to avoid it. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of parents are against it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we see these, the big middle, they choose it and the family's fine with it. The little on the side who are forced to, and the little on the side who are forced not to. Yeah. You see the whole range.
Oh, yeah. Is there something that you find out of the research, as a result of the research, that the government is doing, or the organizations, to end that discrimination?
We were focused on Muslim opinion and non-Muslim opinion. We didn't really look at government government policy, but what the government can take from it is that there is a need to address this discrimination, and especially helping Muslims find jobs. I mean, obviously not Muslims. There are a lot of minorities actually who have trouble finding work, because we do have a racialized workforce in many ways. So the government can do stuff to help for that, and also just to address the media narrative. Like, we know that the media is their own entity, and politicians have already this love-hate relationship with the media, but it can make a real difference if a Prime Minister gets up and says, Muslims are part of Canada, or if the Prime Minister gets up and says, Muslims, you have an anti-woman culture. This can make a big difference.
It will make a change.
So they have a role to play. So they can use the research to understand and emphasize those positive things that we discovered.
Katherine, is there a way that somebody can see the results of the...
yes. It's available as a free download, both from the Tessellate Institute website and also from the Environics Research Institute website. It's a PDF. It's, I think, 48 pages.
It's okay, but it's good for the community because it is more than talking. It's an actual fact that the results are saying what is happening.
That's right, and it's scientifically sound. It's very good data. It's not just anecdote. It's
okay, Katherine. It's a pleasure having you with us. Congratulations for the research, and hope we can see you soon again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna go for a small break, and we come back. We continue at the Muslim View. Okay, we continue at the Muslim View, and here at the Oxford Mosque we have our mayor, Matt Brown. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be a part of this.
Okay, Mayor, here we are celebrating today the Islamic History Month, and you are coming to say some words. What do you think about how the community is growing and the input the community is bringing to London?
Well, I mean, I think it's really important for us to recognize that the Islamic community has had such an important, profound effect on the development of our community over decades and decades. I talk about my family moving to London in 1953. The Muslim community was well established here in London much before that.
Yeah, and how, in your position as mayor, how you see the community, the input that the community is giving to London?
Well, we work very closely together on a number of issues. I'll be speaking a little bit tonight about one of the most important issues that we've worked together on in the past 12 months, and that was the Syrian refugee crisis. London has done an amazing amount of work in that area. We are the 11th largest city in Canada. We've welcomed across the nation the 4th highest number of refugees out of any community in Canada, and that's really something that we need to attribute to our community partners. One of the most important community partners in that work was our Islamic community.
Yeah, and also you have a Muslim member of the council.
We do, and that's something that we're all very proud of. We have a council that I think reflects a good level of diversity in our community. We're not there yet reflecting really how diverse our community is, but when I talk to counterparts, when I talk to other mayors across Ontario or across Canada, I'm very proud of the fact of the diverse nature, the diverse makeup of our council, and that's something that we should be proud of too.
Mayor, there's something that is going to come up with the presentation, the research that Katherine did, is about the discrimination of the Muslim, especially the woman. And you know that we have some cases here in London.
Yeah, you know, we do. And one situation is far too many. We need to talk about that. I make a point of talking about that on a regular basis. There's no place for Islamophobia, for example, in our community, anywhere in Canada. And it's not just the high-profile cases that we hear about in the news. It's everyday racism. We need to focus on that as a community and make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure that that ceases. It's 2016, and one of the unfortunate facts about living in our community and other communities across Canada is that racism still exists. It's going to take all of us to eradicate that.
Okay, Mayor, thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you in our show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be interviewed by you and to be a part of your show. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be back in 1 month. Okay, we continue the Muslim View. We're here at the Oxford Mosque. We are celebrating the Islamic History Month. And with us, we have Imam Abd al-Fatah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I hope I pronounced your name good.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, I always have trouble with names. So, Imam, we're here celebrating the Islamic History Month, and we just talked with Katherine. She's going to do an exceptional presentation about her research on the Muslims in Canada. And she told us something really, really interesting, is that she is an Australian who converted to Islam. And we know you are Canadian. You didn't convert. You've been into Islam. Yeah. So what do you tell us about the history of Islam in Canada?
Well, I mean, history of Islam in Canada goes back a long ways, well over 120 years ago. When we talk about the first mosque that opened up in Canada, it opened up in 1938 in the city of Edmonton. And of course, the London Muslim Mosque is the second mosque in Canada. So Muslims have been here for a very long time. And we also see, a number of contributions that Muslims have made to Canadian society. And the population just keeps on growing and increasing, and so as the population of Muslims increases and grows, so do the contributions of Muslims in Canada. And really that's the theme of Islamic History Month for this year, is Muslim contributions and how they enrich and enhance Canadian society.
Okay, now that the London community, the Muslim community in London is huge, and you are part of the leaders of that community. How do you see the community here?
Well, the community has deep roots in London. I've only been here for 3 years, but the Muslims in London have been here since the late 1800s. And so they've done a lot in order to build our community here And the mosque being here for over 50 years has had a lot of time to be able to build relationships with various services and members and within the community, with the City of London. And so this is a relationship that we continue to foster and to strengthen so that we're able to continue to grow and to contribute to the betterment of Canadian society.
Yeah, so definitely we're celebrating today.
Definitely. It's a commemoration of the fabric, the multicultural fabric, and the contributions that Muslims have given to Canadian society, which we are an integral part of.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am, thank you very much. Pleasure having you in our show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, we're going to go for a small break, and when we come back, we continue the Muslim View.
This wonderful country, Canada. And New London is existing because of you, because of your contributions. The Muslim community was continuing contributing to this wonderful city, and they made a lot of changes. In the past, we really followed the footsteps of our scholars who taught us through math, through physics, through chemistry, that the Muslims were leaders in this field, that we learned from them and we're contributing back to this society. We need to understand that Islam taught us through the Prophet ﷺ message, that this message I always repeat, that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you know the day of judgment is tomorrow and you have a palm tree in your hand planted, if you have any goodness, do it, because that will benefit others, and it will continue to benefit you for the infinite life when we have our next journey. And you all remember that 80 years old man who was planting palm tree. They asked him, why are you planting this palm tree? And you're not gonna eat from it. He said, they planted for us, and you plant for the generation to come. So keep planting and keep doing good and contributing back to the society and to flourish Islam as it is, because Islam was hijacked. And you are the one who really would represent the image of Islam in the best way, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much. May Allah reward you.